You are listening to the Centaku Media Podcast, a source for sharing interests beyond the scope of anime because we're in the center of other otaku interests. Hey everyone, this is Sanjo-chan, your host of the Centaku Media Podcast. This is episode 6 of the Centaku Media Journal for the week of July 19th, 2020, and this episode is going to be lighter compared to the last two episodes. So, for those that are just tuning in, this is a bi-monthly series, or rather bi-weekly series, where I highlight the news articles from the industries of anime, gaming, and entertainment, especially if you're into J-pop and K-pop as well. So, if you like all of these, then this is the place to be. And as I was mentioning, that if you are just tuning in, the last two episodes were filled with anime and gaming. So, the last episode, we covered a lot of news that came out of Anime Expo Light and Funimation Con, which anyone could attend and not just at a specific location. And considering with this year being quite different in the past 20 years of the century, it's just not possible this year. So it was still business as usual, even though there wasn't any action going on as far as attending conventions. And also the episode before that, E3 also wasn't a no-go. It was a no-go. So the same thing happened as far as like gaming news. Individual game companies are doing their own thing as far as announcement goes. Like Nintendo, of course, they have their Nintendo Direct live stream events like almost every month, and then I think Square Enix has something planned for August at this point. They said July and August, but at this point July is almost done, so unless they announce something like as soon as I release this episode, then I'll have a lot to talk about for the next episode, which will be due on the 5th of August? Yes, 5th of August. And of course, for those that are just tuning in, there's also a new episode of the monthly podcast due at the last Wednesday of this month, which will be next week, which I'm already pretty much like 60% done recording it. I just gotta edit it and all that good stuff and add what I need to add. So I look forward to it, and of course, I'm going to keep it a secret for the time being, and that's pretty much my plan anyway, is just keep it a secret so that way it will draw people in. There might be like one time where I'll say, hey, just tune in for this on this day, and then maybe it'll get people's attention. But anyway, so I hope everyone is doing okay this week, and actually I might not have this episode out on time, but if I do, that means I've conquered my setback I had. And I'm not going to go into detail what went on, but well, I guess I'll give you an idea of what's going on, just to vent about it. But it just feels like whatever I do, it feels like no one's ever satisfied, and I'm guessing, that's my issue now because I got into a huge disagreement with someone, and it seems like that this person made it out to be, they're trying to play it out in their favor, basically just using, I guess for lack of a better word, juvenile tactics just to try to get what they want. And this has something to do with that person I talked about in the previous episode. Well, the previous episode, but I had an update in the last episode. But no, this is like actually close to me, so it's kind of a family issue, so to speak. But I'm not gonna go into too much detail about it. But at this point, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing until someone else appreciates it. So, like, that's where I am now. It just seems like people will make up excuses for their own benefit. Yet I'm trying so hard, but it doesn't. They make it out where it's, they make me look bad, and in actuality, I'm actually doing a pretty damn good job of it. And that's kind of where I had an issue with running Centaku back in the day. And of course, I've mentioned this a few times, and you can also find this on my About page on CentakuMedia.com. About 10 years ago, I submitted the blog to a anime centric blog aggregator site, and while there were even like some website that was similar to mine on there, this person came back and told me that they thought my site was too video gaming without providing an explanation on why that was, and that made me so upset that I just told them, I don't feel comfortable with your comment. I wish you provide better detail and just delete. And I would just feel better if you just delete my account because I don't want to deal with you anymore. So that's the way it's been, and I'm guessing, just thinking back to it now, that actually made me stronger because I'm actually covering more than when I wanted to before. Because actually at the time I did limit myself because I was so paranoid about that one comment. But having taken some time off due to other issues, I came back stronger and figured, well, things are different than it was 10 years ago as far as the blogosphere is concerned. It's still, a hobby of it, but it's now people are pretty much going to Instagram or Twitter now to get what they want. So the demand for blogs is not as big as it was a decade ago, but there's still some audience out there for the content I post. So that's pretty much what I'm going with. Or not what I'm going with, that's what I'm sticking to. That's my story, and no one else is a part of it. Or in Final Fantasy X, or rather Kingdom Hearts, but I don't know. So, actually, for those that have not played a Final Fantasy game, please play Final Fantasy X, because Auron, he is my favorite character in the whole franchise, and I probably, one way or another, talked about him, but, yeah. I do want to do, maybe, I have so many ideas, you don't even know. Like, I did write an article about him a long time ago, and I do plan on republishing it again in the future, but he's kind of my inspiration. As one of the quotes he says is, dwelling in the past is futile, and that's kind of what I need to start paying more attention to. And I hope whoever's listening to this podcast, especially at this very moment, listening to what I say, I hope that they take that into consideration. And I hope this intro segment is gives an opportunity for people to improve themselves, or at least provide positive input instead of just saying, oh, don't worry about it, this is life, which is, yes, well, maybe it's just life, but there's just more to it that no one else understands. But anyway, enough sappy stories. So, in good news, I ran a poll, which I actually under-advertised, like I talked about it in the last episode of the podcast, but I don't even know if I talked about it in the last episode of the podcast, but I did link to it in the show notes of one of the episodes of the journal. But I ran a poll that will help decide what next anime series to watch that I could talk about on a future episode of the podcast. Well, again, that post was under advertised, but a friend of mine who is actually a contributor on Centaku Media, Sippy, he gave his vote for Code Geass, and due to powers that are of my control, Code Geass will be the next series that I will review for the Centaku Media Podcast. So, congratulations to Code Geass. Code Geass was unchallenged, which is why I said powers that are my control. I'm just gonna say, it's gonna be Code Geass. At this point, actually, I didn't even close the poll. Like, I intended to close the poll like a day or two early, but I think I just unstickied it from my Twitter account and stuff, and yeah. But yeah, Code Geass I'm gonna watch, and I was like, might as well. With that said, Code Geass is also roughly 50 episodes long, so it'll be quite a while. Actually, as of recording, I've already started watching the first few episodes of it, so I'm getting a head start. But I actually had an idea for a future episode. I guess will be August episode of the monthly podcast. I do have an idea of it, and I might have referenced this a couple of times in this episode, because I always record. I try to record intros before I record. After I record a segment, rather. So that way I can tell you what to expect, and then I record an outro later. That way when I'm editing it, I say, oh yeah, I forgot to say that. So, that's how my production has been, and it's been pretty beneficial. But yeah, so Code Geass will be on a future episode. Won't be next month, but probably September or October, whenever I finish it, since it's 50 episodes long. But I do have an idea what to talk about for next month's episode. But this month's episode is almost done, so look forward to that. And if you enjoying what you hear, even though this is just an intro, be sure to follow Centaku Media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Centaku Media. And also one other thing, so I've started streaming again on Twitch, and right now I'm streaming Final Fantasy 14, even though I said I wasn't going to stream Final Fantasy 14 again, but at this point it's just like a for the moment type deal, because like I just want to, get into the practice of streaming again, and also show my progress of what I've done so far. And for those that are into Final Fantasy 14, I do have a series which is kind of it's not really regularly updated, but it needs to be at some point. But I have a series called the Eorsa Journal, which I've started back when I relaunched Centaku Media, which covers my progress as a bard who goes by Nakaichi Epion on the Fanfrit realm. So for those that are interested, you can check out the most recent Eorsa Journal post that's titled "The Struggle Is Real" on centakumedia.com, and also I do plan on posting another update in the very near future, as I have less than 15 quests left until I get the Stormblood. Oh my god, I'm so excited, because I've put off onto progressing this for so long, because last year was weird because I tried streaming it and playing it at the same time, but it hindered my progress by streaming, and then also it was discouraging because I wasn't getting any viewers, and then I finally came to the conclusion that for 14 it's not a good game to stream unless I had a different approach to it than just playing for the story, right? So that's where I am now, but although right now I'm streaming for the moment, so I kind of don't care at the moment. I stream a little after midnight, and I know that for a lot of people that's not very convenient, but if you live on the West Coast, then it's like 9 o'clock, so it's probably not too late for anyone. But if you're interested, be sure to check out twitch.tv/Centaku Media, and you can catch the VODs of my live streams 2 weeks from the stream day. Otherwise, they're gone forever. So, if you're interested, be sure to check it out. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the segment that you've been waiting for, where we cover otaku news. But first, here is a word from our sponsor. Welcome back to episode 6 of the Centaku Media Journal, and as always, we go right into the anime portion of our news segment, and also go into gaming and entertainment and any offbeats that I've come across for the week, which actually, just a heads up, there hasn't been any offbeats, although there were some that I think I put into the anime part of it, but we'll figure it out where I put them. Where I put the offbeats into the proper section, since it's actually relevant to one niche. So, to kick off our anime news segment, there will be a Life-sized Freedom Gundam statue, which will debut in Shanghai. Sunrise confirmed that it will unveil its Life-sized Freedom Gundam statue in front of the Misui shopping park in Shanghai in 2021. The statue is the first overseas one in Sunrise's Life-sized Gundam statue project. Sunrise and its partners first teased the plans during the live-streamed Gundam G-Meeting 2020 event for the Gundam China project that past Saturday. Protagonist Kira Yamato pilots the 18.3 meter tall, or about 59 foot tall, CGMF-X10A Freena Gundam midway through the Gundam Seed franchise, which I know some of you like, some of you hate, and I'm sorry, I'm actually one of the I guess a minority, depending on how you see it. Basically, I'm not a big fan of Gundam Seed, but I'll save that criticism for another episode. So Sunrise is planning to unveil this 59 foot tall, life-size moving RX-78 2 Gundam statue from the first Gundam series in Yokohama, but it was delayed later this year due to obvious reasons. So Gotta love Gundam being spread about. We need one here. I'm sorry, we need one here in the U.S. because it's just ridiculous, and it's getting to the point where we're gonna have to start our own 1-year war. Like, I'm not joking, but one can only dream. But also, you gotta think of the if that's the right word, ramifications. Yeah, the issue, I guess the drawbacks of using a Gundam, because it might get used for the wrong reasons. But then again, as long as they choose the right side of it, like if they choose maybe the Sion side, I won't feel so bad about it. I know some people prefer the Sion side, because they're technically the bad guys, but it's the Earth Federation Force are technically the good guys, but of course, that'll be another episode. It makes more sense now if you've watched Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin, and Sion actually makes more sense, and that's kind of where we are now. So technically I would be on the Sion side, but again, we're not gonna get into that right now. I would like to do a future episode of Gundam, I guess the origin in particular, because I've already done a 3-part series of the Gundam franchise, which can be read on Centaku Media.com, which is actually a republication of a 3-part presentation I did for our anime club, Scenic City Anime Amore, over 10 years ago. So I'll link that in the show notes for those who are curious about Gundam as a whole. But I do want to talk about Gundam the Origin in the future for a future episode. But anyway, moving on. So, season 5 of My Hero Academia was teased by composer Yuki Hayashi. The composer of the My Hero Academia TV anime posted a few images on his Instagram showing that the recording for the upcoming season 5 has already begun, and the musicians behind the music are having fun recording what is to come. And although we don't know the dates of My Hero season 5 just yet, even though we just finished season 4, and speaking of which, I need to catch up on My Hero as well. Like, I am like at the beginning of season 4, but I just haven't had the time to watch it, due to everything going on. Like, I'm trying my best to read and watch what I can, but this is going to be baby steps at this point. But things are back to normal now as far as trying to catch up. Although just recently I had a setback emotionally for some reasons I'm not even going to get into, but I've mentioned that probably in the intro. But I'm going to get to it eventually. Actually, this will be a good opportunity to actually watch some more anime, right? Anime makes everything feel better, right? Especially in the summer heat. So, anyway, moving on, we have the story I was talking about. That's actually I incorporated into the anime news segment. It would have been an offbeat news segment, but it's going to be an anime related story. So, this one is from Sora News 24, and the title of it is Fans of Voice Actress Gets Rid of Her Merchandise Following Marriage Announcement. So for those that are really into seiyuu, or rather, well, I don't even think they even refer to Japanese voice actors as seiyuu anymore. I think they just call it Japanese voice actors, but guys, I know there was some kind of negative meaning behind it, you know what I mean? So I never hear the word seiyuu used anymore. But anyway, so yes, Japanese voice actress Nana Masuki, she recently announced her marriage. So the story goes with Akihabara being Japan's concentrated mecca of otaku culture. The Tokyo neighborhood isn't just a place for fans to buy hobby-related items, but to sell them too. Walking around Akiba, you'll find as many shops dealing in secondhand goods as used items, with some of the busiest used merchants being the local branches of chain K-Books. On July 8th, K-Books Akihabara's voice actress division sent out a tweet letting everyone know that they were getting a large influx of used items. For one star in particular, voice actress / anime song vocalist Nana Masuki. With anime being a largely youth-oriented entertainment field, it's not unusual for a voice performer's popularity to drop off suddenly as fans move on to the next talent sensation. Masuki has traditionally been an exception, though, having been an anime A-lister for roughly 20 years. So why were many fans suddenly willing to part with their Nana Masuki memorabilia? K-Books itself didn't offer a direct explanation, but there's a possible clue contained in this tweet, which also included the message, "Congratulations on your marriage." Just one day before K-Books' tweet, Mitsuki revealed via a blog post that she'd gotten married, apparently having chosen July 7 as a date on which to break the news, since her name, Nana, is also the word for 7. So it seems like at least a few fans were shaken up by the fact that she was no longer single, and with their daydreams of perhaps one day winning her love going from far-fetched to impossible, decided to swiftly divest themselves of such possessions. And a few days later, on July 12th, K-Books sent out another tweet to let people know that it had acquired a pair of limited edition, out-of-production Nana Mitsuki themed Reeboks. So, if you're interested in Nana Mitsuki merchandise, then be sure to hit up K-Books if you're stuck in Japan, or possibly on eBay, whatever outlet you can get your hands on these merchandise if you're a fan of any of her works. So that's the offbeat news section and anime section concluded in one story. So yes, I guess we're having a light news cycle this time around, not like last month, well, the last month and the last episode, considering, it had a lot of anime and gaming news. Although probably next week would be different or so, but I don't know, because I know Square Enix was supposed to be announcing something gaming-wise sometime in July and August, so we'll see. But the only couple I have for gaming, and actually technically anime-related too, or manga-related, but I'm guessing this is a manga tie-in of a gaming property rather. It's a Dragon Quest entry, and Anime News Network posted an article, Shonen Jump teasing that Dragon Quest title for August 3rd. This year's 32nd issue of Shueisa's weekly Shonen Jump magazine teased that it will reveal news about that title, in quotes, and Square Enix's Dragon Quest franchise in the magazine's 35th issue, which will ship on August 3rd. The Dragon Quest Adventure of Dai franchise is getting a new anime in October, a new prequel manga, as well as a new smartphone game, console game, and arcade game. The Dragon Quest Dai no Daibouken Tamashi no Kisuna smartphone game will launch in 2021. Square Enix will release the Infinity Strash Dragon Quest Dai no Daibouken, or Adventure of Dai, action role-playing game for consoles in 2021. The Dragon Quest Dai no Daibouken Crossblade, or the way they have it spelled is XROSS, which is pronounced cross. Arcade game is slated to debut in or after fall 2020. And for those who are behind on Dragon Quest series, Anime News Network also mentioned that the latest numbered title in the franchise, Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of an Elusive Age, shipped in Japan for the PS4 and Nintendo 3DS in July 2017. The game launched for both PC and PS4 via Steam, well, rather PS4 or PC via Steam in North America and Europe in September 2018, and the game's Switch version launched in September 2019. So if you're behind on Dragon Quest, then now's a good time to catch up. I actually have a Dragon Quest game in my possession, but I've never ever played it. I think it's Dragon Quest 8, I believe, and I never got a chance to play it. It's for the PS2, if I remember correctly, so I never got a chance to actually play it. I think by the time I played it, my PS2 kicked the bucket, and I never made an effort to buy another one, but I do. We have a couple of pawn shops here in the area. Actually, a couple of pawn shops, and there's also a flea market. There's one there's one store rather, one merchant at this flea market that sells a whole bunch of used consoles, but I don't even know they're still in business. Not because of COVID-19, but just I've never made the attempt to go back there before all this happened, so And I definitely don't feel like going back there now, considering that we're having spikes of cases again. So yeah, it'll be a while before I even consider buying another PS2. So, or maybe if they re-release Dragon Quest 8 on PS4 something, maybe I'll just get it there and call it a day. But thankfully I didn't spend too much money on it. I think it was like $10 or something like that. It was like a Christmas deal at Walmart one year, so I was like, okay, I'll get it. But I felt bad I didn't get a chance to play it. I got a huge backlog of games. It's like not even funny. It's like just as bad as my anime backlist. Not as bad, of course, games are expensive. I only get them only if they're on sale, but that's going to change in the future. So when I actually get back into uh the moment of streaming, which is actually going on right now, if I had not mentioned it in the intro, that I'm just going to do sporadic live streams. So if you're interested in checking out what I'm playing at the moment, be sure to follow Centaku Media on Twitch, which is now Centaku Media instead of Centaku-chan. And don't go to Mixer, because by the time this episode is released, it's not going to be there anymore. So just Twitch, Centaku Media. So anyway, moving on to our last gaming news segment. It's the announcement of Microsoft's discontinuation of the Xbox One S and then Xbox One X. So yeah, apparently Microsoft is stopping production of the One X and One S all digital edition consoles. It will continue to produce the standard Xbox One S, and this comes after many would-be Xbox owners had trouble locating the console in stores. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic or what, but apparently, from Microsoft, as we ramp up into the future of the Xbox Series X, we're taking the natural step of stopping production on the One X and One S all digital edition. This is coming from a Microsoft spokesperson who told the the technology website The Verge, One S will continue to be manufactured and sold globally. The Xbox One X was released in 2017, and the Xbox One S All Digital Edition was released just last year in May. So, according to Kotaku, they say that it's debatable just how natural this step is. Ending production on consoles is a normal part of the console cycle, but it feels extremely early. For starters, the Xbox Series X isn't even out yet. Even stranger is the decision to stop production the more powerful Xbox One X while leaving the low-end Xbox One S on shelves, but not the lower-end all-digital edition. So they also said that reports of players having trouble finding and buying new Xbox One S consoles have been floating around for a few weeks, which, as I just said, it might be something to do with the pandemic. But the shortage, in particular the Xbox One X, could be due to the fact that Microsoft doesn't want to have anything to do with them anymore. So for those that have been looking for Xbox One and Xbox One S digital editions, then that's the reason why you can't find them. I'm personally not a big Xbox fan. I've never ever had an Xbox, and yeah, don't tag me for it. Don't add me at that. Like I've actually have a vengeful relationship with the Xbox. And actually, I do have an Xbox, though. I got it from a friend who, they were tossing out their old stuff, and they had a modded Xbox that was still working condition, so I took it for nothing. And actually, I haven't tried it yet, but that's something I plan on doing in the near future. Because I got it, right before this pandemic started. Unfortunately, I've been working 45 plus hours, and I never had a break for anything. So that's on my to-do list, just to boot it up and see what happens. And I might have a copy of Jet Set Radio Future. I don't know. I have to check. I think I'm dreaming something. I'm going back to the things I thought I bought years ago, and it's all wait. I never bought that. I need to buy it. As I looked in every possible place, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I didn't buy it, or oh yeah, I did buy it. So that's gonna be my project list for this summer, or sometime this summer. So. Excuse me. Sorry if I'm sniffling, because I think I have some allergy issues going on, and it's not COVID, so don't worry, it's not COVID related. So anyway, moving on to entertainment news. before we kick off our entertainment news section, I want to talk a little bit about fandoms. So, of course, fandoms, they have their good apples and bad apples. And this can be any fandom. It's not just one group in particular for fandom. So, like, what I'm trying to say is that the anime fandom, they have bad apples. Because I know, like, I guess maybe to an extent, Naruto might have some annoying fans. I know probably Dragon Ball Z has some annoying fans too, especially those that don't get Dragon Ball. Like, they probably heard of Dragon Ball, but they just don't get it, because when they think of Dragon Ball, they think about that for like 5 minutes straight. That's all they ever think about. And then I think what's another fandom? Probably, I want to say One Piece too, but I think One Piece is actually pretty chill fan base. And I know back in the day, Hetalia was also kind of iffy, but that fell off real fast. And of course, this is where Homestuck comes in at. Now, Homestuck definitely has something to do with anime, but apparently a lot of people that were involved with Hetalia rather, they went to the Homestuck fandom for the longest time, and then now that's over. Everyone's into My Hero Academia, and now I keep hearing people saying that My Hero Academia has an annoying fan base. But I think, like, a few mature ones I could think of, and I'm not trying to be biased here, but I think the mature is fan base in anime is Gundam, because, it's been around for so long, and it's of a level where, someone simple-minded can't comprehend it. So that's like why there's so many of them. So I'm just gonna sit right here. I mean, like, I'm sure there's some people that actually, get an idea of it. They probably like stuck to one series, probably like Wing or Seed, or maybe Iron-Blooded Orphans, because I hear that's becoming a thing now. Like, there's actually a sizable fan base in Iron-Blooded Orphans. But anyway, I'm not talking about Gundam. Like I said, that'll be for another episode. Also for gaming too, I know Final Fantasy has its share of interesting fans. Like, I guess it depends on the fandom too. I know Final Fantasy VII might have some bad apples because it's the biggest out of the franchise, because of the the following it has. Because that was like everyone's first Final Fantasy game, and now that it's remade, everyone is just returning to their roots, whether good or bad. And then, oh yeah, of course, there's Overwatch, and then pretty much every other shooter, like Fortnite. I'm pretty sure Fortnite has a share of bad people. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get to is that K-pop also has questionable fans. And so, because of one fan base, this actually makes me angry. I've been into K-pop since 2004. And I'm actually, so I'm a big fan of Big Bang, so that would make me a VIP. I'm also a high schooler, which is the unofficial name, I think unofficial name for Epic High's fans. And now, as of late, the biggest K-pop fan base in the world, next to Cassiopeia, but I don't even know if I want to put them on that pedestal. Like, I don't even know if I want to put them that close to them. And for those that don't know, Cassiopeia is the fan base for TVXQ, or Domenshinki. Yeah, but right now the biggest fandom is ARMY, and that belongs to BTS, or Bangtan Shinodan, for those that are hardcore. But pretty much in the West they just call them BTS for behind the scene, but I also call them Bangtan Shinodan. But the latest controversy surrounding ARMY, just ARMY, not BTS, but just ARMY, but I hope it doesn't spill into the group, which, like, don't get me wrong, they're very, very, very talented, and I've been following BTS for quite a bit before they became, a global sensation. But this is just taking it way too far. So, the latest controversy involving ARMY, again, not BTS, is that they are basically resorting to cyberbullying against a songwriter for a song that Fee performed for the soundtrack Itaewon Class. So, that's to give you the story of Korea Boo. Songwriters Melanie Joy Fontana and Mikhail Lindgren Solch have responded to criticism from ARMY regarding the song Sweet Night. So the song was originally released back in March for the K-drama Itaewon class, Part 12, OST Part 12. It was produced by Fee and His Noise, and co-written by Fee, His Noise, Adora, Melanie Joy Fontana, and Mikkel Lindgren Schultz. On July 14th, Universal Music Publishing Group, or UMPG, uploaded a photo of Fontana on Instagram highlighting her work on Sweet Night. And then the post received an overwhelming amount of backlash from fans that soon spread to other social media platforms including Twitter and Facebook. Fans alleged that Fontana, who has worked with BTS many times, was taking too much credit for Sweet Night. In response, Schultz addressed the harassment, saying that he and Fontana wrote every single word in Sweet Night. And one of the screen caps from the Koreaboo article, which I put here for reference for the podcast, since you can't see it. But of course, if you want to see the other responses, I will link to that article in the show notes, which is going to be found in the description, depending on the player you're listening to this from. One fan said that, "I'm not saying they didn't write part of the song, I'm just saying that it's unfair taking whole credits for it." Lindgren responded, "Which no one ever did. You're misinterpreting things you read in the past. Be kinder." In addition to this, Fontana's manager, Justin J. Garza, replied to DMs from fans. He said that Sweet Night was a group effort and that the songwriters all added value towards the final outcome of the song. It was also worth mentioning that the song was written at the request of the label and Fee himself. It was written in English but translated to Korean, which apparently fans don't find that satisfactory, which, what do you want them to prove? So I'm guessing I can see where this is going. So the person in question, Melanie Joy Fontana, and considering the way things are going, I'm pretty sure this is more of representation for people of color rather than the person who made it. One of the, if I remember correctly, one of the posts that was on Instagram or Twitter, people complaining about this, says that, why would you give this B credit, this YB credit, instead of, giving credit to a person of color? This is just pretty freaking cringy. Everyone's calling her a B, the B word, and that's very uncalled for. Fee himself asked the song to be written, and of course, this to promote the Korean language, the song was translated in Korean, so you got to give Fee props to even, putting in an effort for it. It was his idea, but he asked him to write. It's a group effort, as the manager and everyone else has stated, but it's just very uncalled for to have this songwriter harassed. So, I don't know, I'm guessing it's just that these fans are just so overprotective of their group, they just going to great lengths to even, go down people's throat for just, even, giving mention to BTS. And I'm pretty sure that by me linking to this article, it's not gonna happen. I really doubt it's gonna happen because I'm not that big enough. But I'm pretty sure someone's gonna come into the comments and saying, "Why are you talking about BTS? Why are you talking about us ARMY bullying someone? So you need to stay out of it. And why are you using BTS article as a opportunity to get attention, get some traffic?" First of all, I'm just talking about how crazy you fans are. I'm not trying to get on credit because of BTS. I'm not trying to get traffic because of BTS. See, this is exactly what's going on, and you get pretty much the idea of what's going on. What I was trying to say about all the fandoms is that there's, just because one group is making everyone else look, one group is making everyone else look bad, but that shouldn't be representative of the fandom. There was one person I met on the Anime Nation forums that I really didn't care for because they actually did the ARMY thing and chewed me out for saying something that was harmless. And then they were also fans of one thing. I think they were a fan of Gact too, I believe. And because of that one person, I didn't like Gact. But now in 2020, this was back in 2003. But now in 2020, I actually have a lot of respect for Gact because one of the movies that he was in, I think it was Bunraku, he starred in opposite of Woody Harrelson, if I remember correctly. Like that, not many people know about that movie, but me and my brother watched it one day a long time ago, and it was actually not a bad movie. And actually, I've been like following his posts every now and then on social media, even though he has like I don't directly follow him, but he has. I think last time I checked, he has his Twitter account set to private. So, because he actually has interesting things to say on Twitter, and my friends share screen caps of it. I'm like, okay, he said that. Okay, cool. But no, actually, like Cactus a cool guy. So, but yeah, but that one person kind of ruined things for me a little bit, but just because of that one person shouldn't mean it should be room for everyone else. So that's what I'm trying to get at. But no, Army, they need to, like, I'm guessing what I'm trying to say, maybe BTS needs to not BTS. Like I said, BTS is talented, but Army needs to be canceled because of their behavior, and they're not helping. Like, the group is supposed to, stand for opposite of bullying and stuff, but the fans are not helping. So that's why I'm like really fired up about this. So I'm sorry if rambled on long enough of this, but I'm gonna move on. So yeah, let's move on. So I got it's a two-part article here. It's one of them is a story I talked about a month and a half ago. I think it was episode 4 or maybe 3 of the Centaku Media Journal. It's of an experimental group that's being produced on a show called How Do You Play. It's a show co-hosted by Yujay Suk, Lee Hyori, and Rain. And one of the episodes, I think, going like in late May, was that they would like to come up with a co-ed group, because co-ed groups used to be a big thing in the 90s for K-pop, but not so much anymore. But however, it's kind of made a comeback in the last 5 years with Card and then co-ed school and all that. But this group in particular, their ideas basically go back and reintroduce the 90s style with the co-ed groups in mind, because there's not many co-ed groups anymore besides Card. And of course they go all out showcasing the 90s style on social media between Lee Hyori and Rain and Yujay Suk. Well, Rain especially, because he's been very active on Instagram. But anyway, so yes, this two-part story, and actually this one most recent, which kind of, I'm guessing maybe it's ill timing, kind of perfect timing or ill timing, considering that this is a group, and of course every group has to have a controversy. But anyway, moving on. So the June 20th episode of MBC's How Do You Play, U-Dragon, Yujay Suk, Linda G, Lee Hyori, and B-Rong, or Rain, they met to look over the debut track, to pick a leader, and other issues for the group. So Yujay Suk complained that Linda G and B-Rong had been overactive on social media. Lee Hyori said candidly, I like getting attention, and Rain said I had a good photo of me, so I used the B-Rong hashtag. In response to increased teasing from Lee Hyori and Yujay Suk, Rain quipped, I feel like I'm boiling over inside. I'm going to hold a press conference. I'm going to tell everyone that we're just a business group, and I'm going to leave the group. I've held it in until now, but I'm going to go out and make SOC 5 instead. And by the way, the name of the group is SOC 3. I forget what it meant. I don't have my old show notes. Wait, actually, do I? Do I have my show notes here? Oh my gosh. Do I have it? Do I have it? If I don't have it, I might edit this out. Okay, so it's not in the script I thought I had it in. I know it's been on quite a bit. Okay, I don't have it immediately, but yeah. So the name of the group is SOC 3. For those that were curious, is SSAK3, which is basically one word, the number 3, by the way. So when Rain said I might leave in the middle, Lee Hyori said, if you're going to leave, do it now. Are you going to do it or not? Say it for sure. Rain made everyone laugh with his quick response. I'm sorry, I was wrong. So they pretty much just went through every member management, group management trope in just 1 minute. The group also decided to pick a leader. Yujay Suk was considered because he was the oldest of the group, but Lee Hyori said, it's good at talking but not much else. Yujay Suk added, I can't do anything, so how can I be the leader? I'll be the leader in name only. Hyori said, in the past, you would be the leader if you were the oldest. These days, it's not like that. Rain saw his chance and jumped in. In that case, I'll do it. I think it would be fun if the youngest member was the leader too. Hiyori agreed, but Jae-suk observed, "Do you think Hiyori would listen to you if you were the leader?" And for their second round of debut track selections, each members had worked with producers to write their own song. Lee Jae-suk worked with Musi on Sad Summer, Lee Hyori worked with Code Kunz on Clean Up, and Rain worked with Lee Hyun Sung on Having Fun, which is the literal title of the song. Lee Hyori also wrote the lyrics for the song Summer Sea Again, literal title, which drew the approval of the two members. She said, "I wrote the lyrics while thinking about the other members." And actually, as of writing, well, actually recording right now, there is a single out on iTunes. I think it's on iTunes. Yeah, it is on iTunes, but I don't know if it's on Google Play. I prefer Google Play if I can help it. But yes, their debut single is actually up on iTunes, and I'll link to it in the show notes. And it's actually a cover of a old 90s song, which is by Deuce or Do or whatever. Basically, it was a duo back in the early 90s, and they made their debut with the song Turn Around or Run Around. Nala Dulaba. I think that's how it goes. Nala Dulaba. Da 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 da. I don't know. It's badly made up on the spot hum of the song, but yeah, you get the idea. So I keep saying that you get the idea, but I'll link to both songs just to give you an idea of what the songs are like. But moving on, so like I said earlier, that with them being a project group also comes with its share of controversies, even though they're not serious about it. So Lee Hyori and actually Yuna, I guessing they're friends, Yuna from Girls' Generation, they got into a bit of trouble recently, and of course, with the coronavirus still lingering in the world. In Korea, not so much, but in the United States, it's just, we're not going to talk about that, but yeah, in Korea, it's still a concern there, at least until a vaccine's out, but at least they're on their game when it comes to social distancing and mask usage. But this case, Yuna and Lihori was not wearing masks when they attended a karaoke bar. So they got criticized for not wearing masks while in attendance. They mentioned, the article from Koreaboo mentioned that even though Lihori put on a mask later in the broadcast, Yuna explained that she wore a mask while going to the venue, but they took it off when they arrived. But they still got backlash from netizens. And because of that, they have posted apologies on social media. So because of that, everyone is, they feel really bad about it. Especially Lee Hyori, because Lee Hyori, in the following episode, following the controversy, it was quite evident that Lee Hyori was regretful about her actions, as she was not as energetic as she usually is. Rain and Yoo Jae-suk knew about Lee Hyori's scandal. They seemingly tried not to talk about it and tried to be cheerful as possible. The two constantly tried making jokes, trying to lighten up her mood, but Yoo Jae-suk saw how Lee Hyori was not looking like her usual self. He then decided to jokingly address the scandal, telling her to be careful about their debut as Sak3. Lee Hyori couldn't contain her emotions and tearfully apologized to both of them for her actions. Rain then revealed that Lee Hyori was apologetic even before filming began, as she tearfully apologized to Rain for her actions. Yoo Jae-suk then gives her some words of encouragement, telling her that it's only natural for people to make mistakes. So, now so wear a mask, everyone, because the sooner we can do this, the sooner we can get back to basics. Like, I don't know if the virus is going anywhere now. I mean, it's definitely not going anywhere, at least here in the US, because it keeps circulating. In New Zealand, if I remember correctly, they've actually, eliminated it. So pretty much they're not allowing travel in or out of the country. And I'm thinking they're actually, having rugby matches. Again, like it was, any other day. But here it's, it's a very iffy situation. So, Yes, it's wearing masks. So that's all I have for entertainment news, and that's all I have for news this summer around. So we're done, and that took half of the time. That took half of the time compared to the last two episodes. So I'm like really excited. So I hope that was doable for everyone, because I'm sure the last few episodes they ran close to an hour and a half. So for those that are just tuning in, thank you for listening. And if you are curious just to see what I have to say opinion wise of all the news that have happened in the last 3 months since the podcast launched, then be sure to check out previous episodes. We're also on Spotify, Apple, and whatever platform you listen to this on, it's there. So be sure to check it out. And also, if you are new to the podcast, stay tuned for the outro segment after these messages, where I will talk about anything else I may have forgotten or any news concerning the future of Centaku Media, which is actually 13 years old as of recording this. So, yay! So, stay tuned. You've listened to the podcast, now read a blog. Check out the rest of Centaku Media, which features news, reviews, and observations written with a unique approach, catering to like-minded fans of anime and related subcultures. We love anime, but we also share beyond because we're in the center of other otaku media. If this is your mood, please follow along. Check out Centaku Media in the link of the show page or go to centakumedia.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Centaku Media. Welcome back to the conclusion of episode 6 of the journal. Thank you for listening, and as always, the reason why I have these outros is because I can go back and talk about something that I forgot to say or what I meant to say, and for that reason, in this episode, I said something probably that didn't make any sense when I was talking about SOC 3 and their debut single in summer, which at the time I didn't know what the song was, but now you know. I said it was a cover of Deuce's Turn Around Look at Me or Naro Duraba. It's not that song. It's actually, that cover is actually the original song in summer that Deuce performed. I'm guessing it was like their second album or something, but yeah, so yes, it's the same song as the cover. So yeah, that's what I meant to say. It's basically their version of that song, which fits, even though there's one extra group, only one extra member in this new group. So yeah, there you go. I linked to both videos, music videos, in the show notes, which can be checked out on centakumedia.com, and then the show notes for episode 6 of the journal. And also be sure to check out centakumedia.com very soon, because I am going to do a slight revamp of the website. And also I did say at some point that Centaku Media is 13 years old, so happy birthday to Centaku Media. Unfortunately, I couldn't think of anything to commemorate the occasion, but I figured at least I can give the front page a little facelift, because I know it's stuck in 2008, 2009, but nowadays everyone has a portal, like a splash page, a proper splash page, so that's what I'm going to give Centaku Media after so long of neglecting it. It's been about 5 years since I relaunched this, and now it's going to get a proper front page portal where you could check out everything under the Centaku Media umbrella. You can check out the blog posts, and there'll be a proper blog page where you can check out all the articles posted so far. And there's also a separate column for just podcast related entries, and also there's the feed, which you can see from our Twitch channel, which is Centaku Media on twitch.tv. And if we're doing a live stream and you happen to visit the website, then you can watch it there too, and then follow us back to the Twitch channel and hang out with us. Or you can, I think I made it to where it has a chat embedded into it, so I think you can chat within it too. But yeah, so I'm going to make it all nice like and official like. So look forward to it. And also, one other thing. Yes, if you like this podcast, be sure to follow us, subscribe, share, and like. And also, if there's something different you want to see, be sure to let me know. There's a contact page on the website. I do plan on putting a separate category just for podcasts, so that way I can organize any contact inquiries where they need to go. So anyway, I know I'm rambling on now, and I think there was something else I meant to say, but of course, this episode may or may not be late, so if it's late, then thank you for being patient, and again, stay tuned to the upcoming episode of the monthly episodes, where I'll be talking about a singular topic, and I'm sure, just to give you a hint, this one you will appreciate considering what 2020 has become. Thank you for listening, and until next time, so long. I'll never forget this day.